Hello from Village, I'm Erin Parsons, and in this video I'm going to show you how to figure out how much wax you're going to need for your project. So I thought the best place to start would be for us to figure out exactly how much liquid wax you get from 1 pound of dry wax. So I'm going to be working with the Freedom Soy today, and we're going to start by getting 1 pound of wax. So I've got my scale. My scale only has grams or ounces. So I know that 1 pound of wax is going to give me 16 ounces. So I'm going to put my pour pot on, and I'm going to tear that out. And then I'm going to get 16 ounces of dry wax. This can be a little messy. Oh, we've gone too far. There we go. So we have 16 ounces or 1 pound of wax of our Freedom Soy. I'm just gonna tidy this up a little bit. Back here. And then we'll get this out of the way. All right, so now we're gonna melt it so that we can see what it melts down to when it's liquid. So we've got it in our melter here. We're gonna set it at warm. Now this could be melted in the microwave. It could be melted on a double boiler. Soy wax is really easy to melt. So there are lots of options for melting. All right, so we'll wait for that to become liquid. Okay, so we've let our wax melt. So now I'm going to show you how many liquid ounces you get out of 1 pound of wax. So we're gonna, I only have a 12-ounce measuring cup here. So let's start. All right, so there's 12 ounces. Okay, so 12 ounces plus about 6 1/4. So that's 18 1/4 fluid ounces that I got out of that Freedom Soy. Now you'll have to keep in mind that not all waxes will measure out to be the exact same. So once you've decided on the type of wax that you want to use, I would recommend that you go about doing this too, to figure out exactly how many fluid ounces you're going to get from your wax. So we get 18.25 fluid ounces from 1 pound of Freedom. So now that I know that, I can figure out how much wax I'm going to need in order to complete my project. So I have 3 of our 15-ounce Luxe jars. Now we recommend only putting about 12.5 ounces of wax in each, so that you're leaving some space at the top. So what we'll do next is figure out how much wax I'm going to need for these 3 Luxe jars. So I have 3 times 12.5, we're gonna say. That's how much I'm gonna put in each. So I need 37.5 ounces of wax in order to fill my 3 jars. So we figured out that we get 18.25 out of 1 pound. So I'm going to divide that 37.5 by 18.25 equals. So I need just over 2 pounds of wax in order to complete my project. So that's had a chance to cool a little bit. So I'm gonna pour that back in to warm it up a little bit, and I'm gonna add just over 1 pound of my Freedom Soy. Tear that out. All right. So that's just over 1 pound there. I'm going to pour that in to melt as well. Okay, so I have put just over 2 pounds of wax into my melter. I'm gonna start it up, and we'll melt that down, and then we're gonna see how well we made out with our measurements to see if we have enough wax for our 3 jars here. Okay, so our wax is all melted again. So if you recall, we melted down 37.5 ounces of wax in order to complete our project. So put it into our pour pot. It's pretty full because this is our 2-pound pour pot. I'm going to scent it with our Clean Terrain fragrance. It's one of our new summer fragrances. Now, 37.5 ounces times 6% is 2.25 ounces of fragrance oil. So I like 6% of fragrance. You just need to make sure you check your wax to find out what your max fragrance load is in order to figure out how much oil you're going to be putting in there. I like 6%. I find that it's strong enough for me. So then we're gonna mix all that in. It's good to mix for a couple of minutes, nice and slow. You don't want to be whipping it or going too quickly, or you're going to end up with air bubbles throughout your wax, and then that can end up on your surface and affect the finish. So just nice slow stir. If you happen to notice any oil slicks floating around in your wax where the oil, your fragrance oil, hasn't combined with your wax, that could be a really clear sign that your wax has not been heated hot enough. You really need to make sure that you get your wax to the proper heat so that it opens up and allows that fragrance oil to be blended in with it. All right, so this is looking like it's pretty well mixed. So now we're going to see how close we were with our measurements. You have to be very careful because this is awfully full. Let's start with this one. It's good to do it on a tray because then it's easier to clean up spillage, but c'est la vie. All right, well, I say they're pretty close. There we go. So I would say we did a pretty good job figuring out how much wax we need. So start by melting down your wax and 1 pound of wax and see how many fluid ounces you get from that wax. From there, figure out how much wax your candle will hold, and then multiply that number by how many candles you're going to be making, and then divide that by how many fluid ounces you get from 1 pound of wax. And that's going to tell you how many pounds of wax you're going to need for your project.